Yo, what's up, Matt? How you doing? We're gonna get it started up here. Let's just get her rolling. How about that?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let's do it.
All right. Let's get it rolling. We are live. What's going on, guys? We got Carl with us today. You're here. Remember, mark it. You're here.
I'm here.
We're here. I'm here. This is episode 1. Freedom for Me, the show where you have the freedom to say what you want to say about whatever you want to say. I don't care. I appreciate Carl coming in today to help me start off something that I've been wanting to do for, gosh, probably a couple years now, but never really got the time, the means, the equipment, the stuff to do it until now. So here we are. We got people in the chat. Say what's up. Matt's here. Oscar, a few other people are here. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited, man. How are you doing today? How has your day been?
I've been good. Actually, it's funny because I've been doing yard work. It's spring break and getting that used for free labor. I mean, I don't have a house, but when you got family hitting you up saying, "Hey, you're not working. Let's go get some yard work going." So
right. No, for sure. That's kind of how days have been lately. I feel like now that things are kind of getting back to normal, we're kind of getting back out. We're doing things like we're supposed to be doing. It's been good though. It feels kind of good, to do some work to kind of instead of sitting around. So cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you coming by on short notice too. So let's get into it.
I appreciate it, man. It's nice to be here. It's
of
awesome,
course. Tell me what do you got? What do you got going on behind you here? What's You got a little something for us to view?
I definitely do got a little something here. So quick background for those that don't know much about what I've been up to. I work as an educational assistant at Hillsborough High School, Go Sparks. I'm also in grad school. I'm also a lacrosse coach. So I really need to try and get myself organized because I got too many hats to wear in general. So it was actually nice to have my fiance say, "Hey, I'm going to give this to you and you're going to like it." At first I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to use it." But all of a sudden I'm like, shoot, I'm using it now. So
oh, totally. Yeah, definitely. For sure.
But I got myself a little whiteboard calendar here. I posted up some of my class assignments I need to turn in. And then, just something I give myself motivation wise. This actually was my sash that I got when I got my undergrad at Portland State. And
that's awesome, man.
I actually gave it to my grandfather, who actually helped me out, pay for my tuition in college because, go figure, we're the generation of loans and student debt. So
That's right.
uh,
That's the truth. That's for sure.
yeah, it
Totally.
sucks. But I mean, he passed
Yeah.
away, and when I went to his house and we were, cleaning things up and grabbing some sentimental things, I grabbed that and I grabbed this that belonged to him as well. So I just keep it next to me, just to remind me all the time. Just remember who's
Mhm.
by your side, even at the, toughest times. He's still there with me, just supporting me through and through.
Dude, I love that, man. That's such a good message too, because that's a lot of what we need these days is faith. You got to go on faith. You got to keep that motivation and that dream alive, and you got to keep people that are dear to you close, even when they're gone. And no, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I'm sorry about your grandfather, but he's watching over you. He's definitely here too. So, same reason I got. I've had this tattoo forever. That's my grandma. She left a while back, but just like you have that with you, it's a reminder to always have them with us. So awesome, man. Well, let's get into it. Man, episode 1. One thing I wanted to talk about was something that I feel like is on a lot of people's minds, especially now with things reopening, the situation in the world, and mostly here in the United States. So, from perspective, what was life like when COVID started back in 2019? You remember that? You remember the end, of the year? It was what, October, I think.
About that time,
About
yeah.
that time was October when we started getting those news reports. I don't think it had reached the United States yet, but I remembered that it had started and, was coming around, and we were like, okay, this is, we didn't know the validity, excuse me, of how serious this was. So
Yeah.
take me back to the end of 2019 when what were you doing at the time? Were you working, going to school? What
Yeah.
were you doing?
So I was still working as an educational assistant at Hill High. It was fall sports as well, so I was also announcing soccer and football, like how I normally have been doing for the last 5 years. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
normal day. Holidays were rolling around, getting a lacrosse season prepared up in advance, recruiting kids, getting the kids trained with their assistant coaches. And I remember even as well, like the news hit from, seeing it on the TV, on social media. My fiance worked in the medical field, so she was hearing about it.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and even the kids were just like, hey, Mr. A, do you think this is actually going to hit the United States?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, like, probably not. We've had multiple diseases already that happened in China or even in the
Right.
Asian continent or even Africa. And maybe on occasion they might reach here, but we always had it under control. So I
Right.
didn't think anything of that. I thought it was going to be okay, but obviously I was wrong. So
As we know now, yeah, we definitely know now that it's crazy what happened. But yeah, no, I'd have to say I was in the same boat. I remembered I had just started my job at Columbia Sportswear, and well, I was a few months into it, but still, it was, I was fresh into a new job. It was settling in. I was thinking, okay, cool, next chapter of my life, and then seeing those things happen, and then kind of getting the consensus of people around you, at work and your friends and family, like, I wonder. It was, yeah, we were all kind of in that boat, like, just kind of, what's gonna go on here with this? Is it just like another one that we've heard of, because there's been hundreds of them, or, or whatever. Who knows, right? So okay, so let's fast forward to March. Okay, so March. So for me, March, I believe it was right around my brother's birthday that they actually, I think it was like on his birthday that I was at work. And again, fast forward a few months here, we started getting all of these things that had jumped to the United States. Here we are, quarantine, boom, that word hit, quarantine. And I remembered being at work, having our supervisors come in and we had to start working from home. Like, what a weird concept, right? And they trained us on certain things and how to do everything from home and blah, blah, blah. But at first, I feel like it was a cool thing almost. You know what I mean? To be able to go home and work from home. It was super cool. And everyone's like, awesome, sweet. But I do admit, in that feeling in the air was, I don't want to use the word scary, but it was very different. Very different. It wasn't like you're just getting sent home on a project or doing something, something for work, but you're actually moving your work life from work site to home.
It was unknown. It was just hard to just like trying
Mm-hmm.
to even like think like, how long is this going to go for?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what they were telling all of us too. Was, people were saying, well, what do we do? A month, a couple weeks, for the 14 days to flatten the curve. What is it?
The
We'll
14
we will let you know. How about that? That was the answer that we got.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, take me back to March. When all that happened, what happened with you? How did things reflect on that?
That was a nightmare. That was honestly, I always just shake my head every time I think March 2020.
Mm,
We were
right.
2 weeks into our season for lacrosse. I had 34, 32 kids. I had a big team for Hill
Wow.
High.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had seniors getting looked up for colleges. The hype was really big. We were getting going.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just stopped. It just
Right.
all of them just said, hey, we're not coming to school. Hey,
Right.
we're going to have to cancel practices. And even just kind of built up as well. We were supposed to have a jamboree for the JV team.
Okay.
That got canceled. And then we had a game on the Tuesday after when everything shut down fully. That got canceled. And everything just started domino affecting, just all fell.
Right.
And,
Right.
some of the kids were thinking like, hey, cool, we can extend the spring break. Class-wise, yeah, you do. But sports-wise, my team was so hyped up, and it was as if got taken away from them, especially my seniors that time. And they were heartbroken because they're like, Coach, how long is this going to be? Is this going to be 2 weeks, like what they're saying? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And what you said, what was said for 2 weeks turned into a month, what turned into complete shutdown. And
right.
Every time I just think March 2020, I just think about my seniors all the time, because everything they have for their high school for their last year just is gone.
What do you think, since you were there? I mean, we've obviously all graduated long ago. Now it's kind of weird to say that, isn't it? But what do you think, as you could see, taking us back to a senior in high school, right? I was just talking about this with Matt the other day, and we think about when we were in high school, right? Okay, you did what you did, you either hated it or you loved it, you got through it, you graduated, life goes on, and when we look back at our memories, right? Things were whatever we call normal, that's what things were, okay? When you saw what was going on, and as you kind of led your team through this, and those young men, what could you see? Like, what were they feeling? How did it affect them too, and how did it affect you?
For them, it felt like they weren't able to complete their youth years, like that one final year of being able to be a kid. And this generation now, they really see from our generation that once you're an adult, all of those responsibilities just pile up on you. So for a lot of them from the class of 2020, they definitely felt like they got robbed. They got robbed of their childhood, their opportunities to be able to, experience what was like to finish high school. And I mean, there were some that were like, oh, thank God, I'm done. I don't need to go there no more. And it's like, cool, okay. But those that didn't like high school, big celebration, good for them.
Yeah. True.
I would say just for the general matter of it, it sucks. They didn't get to experience it. And for this year, for the 2021 class, every single month, they kept on asking, when are things going to go back to normal? Are we going to go back to having normal? Are we going to have a prom? Are we actually going to have a graduation? Or is it going to be just like how it was for 2020, where it's a drive up, shake the principal's hand, put some sanitizer on, keep a mask on, grab your diploma, and you get back in the car and you're done.
Right. What a weird concept, right? To have to wear a mask and go, what was it? Drive up too, like you said, right? In the cars.
Yeah.
Like how?
Drive up.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And in the chat here, we got Matt and Oscar. Matt's graduated in 2007. Oscar was with me in 2009. Yeah. Shout out to the Drumline. And you were in 2010, correct?
That's right.
So taking that back, that's what 10, 12 years ago. To from us going into an auditorium or a stadium or whatever it was, and being able to be sit with all your friends, chatting away and talking, like, just, what a cool feeling, you know, like, sweet, you got your gown on, it's the end of the year, you're done, like, from first grade until 12th grade, you were done with everything, and it was such a huge weight, you know, even through all the struggles. Then here we are in 2020, and you're a senior in high school, and it just, like you said, it halts. It's not like a slow burn. It was like hitting a wall, and then boom, to go to graduation, you have to go into a car with a mask on and drive through and get a diploma through essentially a window, or maybe you got out real fast, blah blah blah, and moved on. Like, wow, I can't imagine being a senior in high school in 2020 and now in 2021. You know, I know things are changing, and hopefully by, you know, May, June, July is going to be different, but wow. Yeah, you can only imagine what those young men and women are going through being at that age.
I think the worst part too as well, because if you think about it, you know, you don't see everyone after high school all the time.
Right.
And I think for them, both with 2020 and 2021 right now, I think the worst part is that they are realizing from hearing from staff and their, you know, older peers or their family members or people like us, like,
right,
once it's done, you're not going to see everyone again. Some of your close friends are not always going to be around. Someone's going to go to the military. Someone's going to go to college out of state. Someone's just going to work a job 12 hours a day.
Yeah,
I think that's what the big problem is, as well, is that they don't get to experience that one last hoorah with their friends anymore and not be able to see them as consistently as they used to before.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely different. Kind of sad, but hey, like, we have to keep going. That's the important thing. But yeah, my heart does go out to those young kids, you know, that are kind of going through that. And hopefully this year, you know, we're kind of getting back to normal, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
one day at a time.
That's true. Awesome. So also, let's do a recap. So say from 2019 when this started until today, talk me through, how did you change, either for the better or worse or both, mentally, physically, job wise, school wise, relationship? How did, I don't want to use the pandemic, but as a word, but at the same time, it's a pandemic. So how did this change you from 2019 till today?
Let's start with physically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay.
I definitely had good things going. I had a gym, I had a trainer, I had, you know, time and money to be able to do it. I wasn't in grad school yet, so that wasn't even a thought at all at the time. And I can definitely say physically, holy cow, man. That's just me trying to, like, not swear on live. But
you're good, man. It's freedom, man. You can say whatever you want.
Shit. I mean, okay, I'll say it there right there. But shit, I will not look at the scale anytime soon. I refuse to ever look at a scale, and that's because
I get that for sure. I get that.
Yeah, I as a former athlete, which is weird to say because, God, I mean, how many injuries have I had now? But
yep.
As a former athlete, when you were able to consistently have that routine of training and pushing, and you were, you know, dedicated, committed to eating a certain way and working out specific ways, and you had a goal to shoot for.
Yep.
I needed a trainer, but then once everything shut down, I can't just go running on my own. I literally can't work out at home. To me, home is where you should relax, where you're able to be comfortable and, you know, spend time with your loved ones.
Your peaceful place, you know.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
And some happy places too, but you know.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you know, and I just, man, I really hit the freaking rocks on that one physically. I can't even tell you how many times I,
right, because things slowed down for you, because obviously your sports, which was keeping you active, was kind of done, and I mean, work-wise, you know, you're working from home, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, same here. I can't tell you how I've always been in somewhat good shape, and same, it's not only going from a super active lifestyle work wise. You know, I've always been in an active kind of job, but then even before COVID hit, I went to a desk job. So that already kind of started the pounds coming on because I wasn't as active all day long. And then secondly, yeah, 2 months into working from home, boom, I looked in the mirror for once in years, and I said, okay, that's different. You know, I look different, and I don't like it. You know, it's not a good different. It was not good, man. And I even remember too, with everything being closed and you know, the convenience of like going to the store even to go get something and whatever. It was very different, very hard.
Yeah. And that's when, you know, when you notice things differently physically, that's when, it impacts you mentally.
Yeah, definitely.
And, mentally for me, I hate working at home. I can't do it. Like what I mentioned, home is supposed to be where you relax. Home is where you're supposed to be happy and at peace and be with your loved ones. And you know, I have this little setup now. This, like, everything right here, background, this is because this is my work corner.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'll try and work on the couch because I'm just so mentally drained. I'm staring at a computer 8 hours a day. And on top of that now as well, I'm going to grad school.
Right.
I'm going to grad school online. So you put 4 more hours on top of that too. Wow. You're looking at 12 hours of me
staring at a screen, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're working and doing things, obviously, and you're active with your brain, but at the same time, it's like anything. If you stare at one thing for too long, even if you are engaged in it, your mind's going to start just kind of zoning and going off on its own, and it strains.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I bet. Wow.
So, mentally, I can definitely say I took a big toll on that as well. I was also, what kept me going about it though, even though I was having a computer to stare at 12 hours a day, was just the motivation saying, okay, I'm able to keep my job and go to school full time, right? Because everything's at home. And that was also one of the big pushes I chose to go to grad school was, why not? I was just sitting at home, working at home, and not every kid liked working online, so they didn't always come for me for help. So I was literally just bored. And you know, I couldn't go clean a classroom or go check up on little Billy Joe who's having a hard time in algebra. I was at my home.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just made the commitment. I went to grad school and just added 4 more hours of each of my days to look at the computer. But it was the motivation saying, hey, I'll get it done. I'll get 50K out of it. We'll be good. But,
yeah, right, exactly. Well, I mean, power to you for getting through that. But yeah, I mean, wow, it's the concept of it, and we're all going through it. You know, so many. I don't know the exact numbers, but I mean, hey, millions and millions of people, millions of Americans had to do what you're doing, me included. I mean, I think I was telling you last time we talked that my wife had pointed out at one point, after weeks of doing this, I don't know, we were sitting at home. It was like a Thursday, you know, and I worked Monday through Friday, and I was like, yeah, hey, sweet, you know, tomorrow's Friday, and we can, you know, hopefully go out at least for a walk and do something or whatever, right? And she's sitting there and she says, when was the last time you left the house? And I thought to myself, wow. I mean, it's true. Yeah, I think there were, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a lot of time, but a few days at least, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I worked like a later shift too, so like 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So when you think about it, getting off at 8 p.m., you know, nothing's open, especially during a pandemic, so you can't go out and whatever, right?
Nope.
And at the same time, you start at 11 a.m., and you get off at 8, so you're staying up later. Like I stayed up pretty late, you know, playing video games, talking to friends, whatever, right? And my wife and I watched movie, whatever, right? So we're up till midnight, 1, 2 a.m. And then you sleep in just enough time to wake up, shower, to go to your room in your house, to work for 8 to 10 hours, to get off and do it again. And I just thought to myself, wow, like this is not healthy. You know what I mean? Not healthy. Which drove me to you know, get into, I do construction now, which is great, and I'm physically active all day, which is super awesome. But yeah, I mean, how crazy, right? Yeah. So, geez. What about your relationship? How did that with your fiance now? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. I applaud that. I'm all for it.
I'm sure Matt and Oscar, they'll probably give me a hard time for this. Like, wow, someone actually said yes to Carl. But that's what I joke
Oh,
about too. I mean, I can say it.
but see now
Someone said yes to me. That's all that matters.
that's
So,
yeah, we can't make fun of you now. See, you can't make fun of you now. Darn it, Carl. Dang,
oh
man.
man.
No, I am happy for you. I really am. And in the chat, Matt and Oscar are here. And by the way, real quick, go into the chat. And if anybody wants to ask us questions, go ahead and fire them out. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. I'm probably going to go for maybe another 30 minutes or so here. But I know that Oscar said he hasn't seen us in years, which is true, man. And by the way, Oscar, thank you for your service. I know you've been back for a bit now, but I mean, God bless you for doing what you're doing. And as you know, my wife's in the military. She's gone right now. I haven't seen her in almost 4 months. But yeah, man, thanks for your service. We both miss you. And I know you miss Matt. I don't know if I miss Matt, but no, I'm kidding. We miss everybody. Matt says Carl took the words out of my mouth.
Gotcha, man. Years later, I still got you.
So good. Anyway, back to it, man. But yeah, congratulations. I'm excited for you. Hopefully you guys can get those plans out for your wedding. But yeah, how long were you guys together when this all happened, and then how did it change you for better or for worse?
So it's actually funny how it all happened with our relationship in COVID. I proposed to her in 2019 in March, so almost exactly 2 years ago. Yeah, we're engaged for 2 years now. That wasn't the original plan. The original plan was that we were going to get married in 2020 of this summer. That obviously got postponed to another year. So on that part, for sure, COVID made a big impact on that part. I know some people, I know, like for you, congratulations to you getting married. You still made it happen during COVID.
Yeah, thank you.
Really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She and I we're that crazy couple that wants the big party. We're the crazy couple that wants to have fun, have our close friends and family there, and just go all night, and not have to worry about who's got the vaccine, who's got their mask on, who's COVID free, going that route. We didn't want that. We want to be able to have a good time together and have the people that we spend our relationship with outside of our house together. And 2019 was a tough year before COVID hit. So when 2020 rolled around, we both just made the move of just trying to move in. But we were also very hesitant about moving in because COVID was happening.
Right.
And, that's the problem. It swept in like a storm. So we didn't know where we were moving in, if it was cleaned, if it was sanitized, if it was good to purchase, if it was going to be affordable.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was.
That's a good point.
On top of everything else, like we had to really think about that via COVID wise. So we luckily got very lucky and found a place. We're paying $1,300 a month for a single bedroom. And we're renewing our lease now because it's worked out. It's perfect. It's the right size for us. We made it home. But
that's good.
Yeah, being quarantined though, like it's one thing when you move in with your spouse and you get to know them personal hand from being living with them, sleeping and waking up next to them.
Right.
But it's another thing when you have nowhere to go. You can't go out to dinner.
That's true.
You can't go out dancing. You can't go to parties with other people's houses because if you do, apparently Kate Brown was going to get you in trouble and write you a ticket.
Sure. Okay. I remember that. Yeah. remember Thanksgiving? Remember a couple days or like a week before, literally said if you see your neighbors with more than, what was it, 12, right? So,
I think it was 6.
Was it? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Who? Oh my gosh, dude.
That's I'm not Karen to the extreme right there.
Yeah. Governor Karen Brown, not Kate Brown. Jeez. Yeah. Well, yeah. Wow.
So it was tough. It was a tough time.
I can imagine.
And on top of that too, when you wanted to get away from your spouse and you wanted to go see your friends, you weren't even really allowed to do that either. So
right.
We really put the bullet in the gun for that one. And we really play Russian roulette to see if we're either going to make or break out of this. But
Totally.
I mean, our relationship, as nice as it looks on social media, just like everyone else's pictures, I mean,
oh yeah,
it was a tough time for us. Before COVID, during COVID, and we figured it out. It actually ended up being a very successful challenge for us to get to know each other more and realize that, hey, if we can get through this together, not just by moving in right off the bat, but also moving in, living together while in a pandemic and being stuck here together, then
Right.
this relationship is going to work. And so far, I'm still breathing.
Yeah,
I'm not dead yet. So
yeah, that's huge. No, that's good, man. That's all we can hope for, right?
exactly.
In secret, we all know that women are the superior race. We just don't want them to. We just don't want them to know that, though. We just don't tell them. But no, for sure, I do believe in that too. And you know, to interject too on what you're saying and bounce off of it as well. From my perspective too, I made it happen, and my wife and I got married on July 4th of 2020. And we, not only because, well, the way that I like to think about that, it's kind of crazy because what a crazy date, right? The year 2020, during a pandemic, when everything is shut down and closed and life is not normal, and July 4th, Independence Day, right? The free day, the freedom day, the America Day, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Fireworks day.
I know. See, we were smart. We were smart because now every anniversary we don't have to go buy fireworks. We got millions of people that did it for us. But yeah, I mean, it was weird because we want, like you know, I'm very much like you too, and we both are. We want that. And we will, you know, we are actually going to do another wedding. We're going to do a big one, you know, when things get back to normal. We're going to renew our vows and do all that stuff. But
there you go.
We still wanted to have it done. But yeah, we definitely talked about it. And we were like, well, this kind of sucks because we want hundreds of people. We want the party. We want everything to kind of be, you know, the picturesque, you know, wedding. And we didn't have that. But at the same time, we both just kind of sat down, and it's like you said with your fiance, it's a matter of two people. If you equally want it the same, which, you know, whatever amount those are, but it's like if you equally want it and you equally love each other, it doesn't matter if there's a pandemic or whatever, you know, you're going to get through it. And that's the point of it. Well, I'm glad to hear that though, because there's obviously a lot of opposite of us to happen people. I mean, it's really sad, but at the same time, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. So if you try and you love each other, that's two good people that are meant to be together. And I've seen it too. I mean, I know the whole social media thing is, but here's my argument back with that though too, is because I used to hate that. I know hate's a strong word. I really used to dislike that people, you know, you'd see only the good things and, you know, only all these happy moments and pictures and this and that. But when you think about it, what annoys you more? Seeing somebody that's happy and seeing it pretty often when you know that obviously there's the darker side that's your personal life? Or would you rather see people that air their dirty laundry all over Facebook? And you know what I'm saying? I'd rather just see people happy all the time, knowing that it's a little bit fake, because we all do that. We all do that, whether it's our relationships or work or, oh my gosh, real fast. One of my friends the other day put on Facebook that she said, I just got back from Florida at the airport, and I played the lotto machines at the airport. She's like, I did a lotto machine and I won $10,000. Like, this is so cool, right? I'm so excited. And all these people, hundreds of people liking it, commenting, oh, I'm so happy for you. That's so cool. And then a week later, she posted, like, guys, that was totally fake. Like, I just said that just kind of like a social experiment to see, you know, how people would react. And it's very true, especially when it comes to money.
Yep.
So...
yeah. Well, the way I would also see it as well, I mean, in a scenario like that, I also think, because on top of everything else as well, I also believe in entrepreneurship. Right. I believe in, you know, you have the ability to make your ends meet, even if it means not having to go to school and producing the best, you know, product or service out there that's going to help change society and bring benefits to you and your family. Right. And I think it's always interesting as well that when we're talking on this topic, that we can celebrate people winning the lottery. We can celebrate people going to school.
Right.
But when you hear someone also trying to say, I'm doing this to better myself and work by myself, I notice, maybe it's just like in the community of where we live, but people don't like when you're trying to work for yourself.
I can agree with that. I can, because it's that old saying of, people, what is it? It's the jealousy of somebody who's doing well.
Yep.
Like somebody, yeah, you see success and you see money, or you see beauty or fame or whatever it is. And like I'll be honest with you, when I moved down to LA to start my stunt career, and I was doing it, and I was in TV shows and blah blah blah. Every time I'd post, and me too. I'd like to think I'm a pretty modest guy, and I don't, hey, look at me. I don't ever really ever do that.
Yeah.
But there are the things in life where it's like memories, like, hey, look, this was so cool that I did this, and I was super happy, because it wasn't like a constantly every day look at me post. It was like maybe once a month, twice a month, I just said, hey guys, like, cool, look at this little behind the scenes thing that I did, super cool. I can't tell you how many friends I gained during that time. People adding me that I never thought would add, you know what I'm saying? Like, people that I knew, obviously. Like, I didn't really even add anybody that I didn't know. But especially down there in like LA, it's all about who you know, and then you market, you network, right, and all that stuff. And I get that side of it. But even back here on the home front side, they latch on to that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when, like you said, when you start building an empire, so to say, for yourself, it which can be a good thing, though. It can be a good thing, because people need that motivation to better themselves. But I agree. I feel like most people don't have that deciding factor to be motivated.
Right.
Like going to the gym. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Big facts.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to lie. I worked my butt off today, and it was a hard physical day. And I got home, I showered, and I literally drove as fast as I could, obeying all the laws, as fast as I could to the gym. And I still just got some cardio in before I met with you tonight, just, to get this podcast going, because I still, and part of it too is like making that promise to somebody. Like, I made a promise to my wife, because she's gone, which she'll be back in just over a month. I'm super excited.
Woo!
But yeah, and then I told her, I said, by the time you get back, I will look different. And I already do. Like, I've already lost, 21 pounds. Yeah. So we're getting there. Oscar thinks I'm a liar. Not even, dude. Not even. You can ask my wife when she gets back. I weighed myself when she left. Okay. She left on December 28th, right? But a week before, right before Christmas time, we were talking about that. And I knew, okay, going back to what we were talking about with gaining the weight from the pandemic weight, let's call it the COVID-20,
Yep.
And I weighed 189, okay? And as of yesterday, I weighed 160, like just over 167, so, about 20 pounds-ish.
There you go.
And, but yeah, anyway, just coming full circle, keeping motivated to do what you need to do is very hard. It is. It's very difficult to do that. But if you believe in yourself and you have people that believe in you, birds of a feather flock together,
Exactly.
Well, cool. So, kind of just the last section here, I guess. We are not in any time crunch, but is there anything that whatever, like, what do you want to talk about? Freedom of speech, man. Because any current events, personal things, just you and me chatting. Anything you want to bring up, talk about, let the audience know, because we definitely have some people tuning in for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody named Oscar is in the chat, as well as Matt. So
let's see, what can we talk about? I can even answer some questions as well.
That's true.
they
Yeah, if
want to keep
anybody in
something
chat
going.
has a question they want to ask us, just let us know. We'll talk about whatever we want to talk about. I'm super excited. I probably am super annoying, not gonna lie, to all my buddies at work because all I talk about is my wife coming back home. But dude, I gotta show you. Look at this. These we write each other letters every day,
That's
and
awesome.
and these are most of these are front to back. It's crazy. I keep them all here, and it's just it's like you said with your fiance. You made that decision to move in together, right? And
Yep.
through a pandemic and through all this stuff, and that speaks volumes. Props to both of you guys for being that mature couple, because I feel like in our generation things are very different, and people don't go that extra mile, but there are people that do, and I'm glad that you found somebody that will not give up on you.
Thank you. Same
Yeah.
to you too.
Yeah.
It really does go a long way when you do find that right person. And I'm not saying there's ever a right time as well when in relationships. I think everyone's got a different timeline. And my fiance and I were about 3.5 years separate. I joked with her as well because when I met her, it was on her 21st birthday. And I gave her a hard time. I said,
Nice.
"You just met my cutoff line." She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I mean, like you barely met the age of when I was 21, I was
Right.
partying, doing all this crazy stuff."
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh, I don't do that. I'm a homebody." I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, perfect. Well, I'm opposite. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess let's see how this goes." But
Mm-hmm.
I guess going about that, yeah, I would say that it's hard to see relationships that go so far in and they fall apart because
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
That's true.
I don't really know how to say it. They don't rush it, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't plan ahead, but they also try to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I get the funny moments when the high school kids come to me and they say, "What makes your relationship so special? How can I have a happy relationship like you, Mr. A?" And without me spilling too much of my own personal life, I just tell them saying,
Yeah.
it just happened. That's the real truth to it. And for
Yeah,
us, I was transitioning out of that party phase already because I got the head coaching job from your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was already trying to mature up already. Just that night alone, I said, "Hey, I'm not going to drink, not going to do anything. I'm just going to be the DD." And our friends, because we had mutual friends, they're like, "What's wrong with you? It's Saturday night." I'm like, "Just don't feel it."
Yeah, you don't have to. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I drink. I mean, my brother and I love drinking whiskeys and stuff like that. And
IPAs, that's my go-to right there.
oh, props to you, man. I don't care. I'm not a real man. I don't care. I don't like that. No, I'm kidding. I've had a few good ones, like some Vertigo had a good one that was at my grandpa's diner that they served. That was like one of the only IPAs I ever liked. But no, you're right. And it's I've always been that way too. You don't have to drink alcohol to have a good time, even though I'd say most of the time it does make a good time.
It does.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I was just talking about that at work today with one of my foremen, and we were talking about that I have only blacked out twice, maybe. I mean, I've had times where I've drank enough that I did not feel good and I don't remember a few things. But when you look back at it and you're thinking, I mean, everybody says the same thing. It's not fun. No. It's not fun to get sick and throw up and whatever. So
it's worse when you're older.
Oh, true. I'm feeling it every day in my back when I get out of bed now. I'll be 30 years old next month and I'm going to be waking up and my legs are going to fall off and my hair's going to turn gray and oh man.
Wait, you're telling me it hasn't grayed yet?
Oh my gosh, Carl. Okay, in the chat, let's go to the chat real quick because Matt wants you to talk about when when you raced him in your Grand Am.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that? I remember that too
I
because
remember that too.
I was in
I
the
remember a
Jeep with
lot of
Matt.
things about that car.
That was great. That was a good time.
That wasn't the first time I ever had something like that happen either. When I was in college, I actually had some dude in a red Honda Civic. He was revving his car at mine. I don't know. He saw the shiny hubcaps in a red sports car. It's not even a sports car. It's a family car. It's a grandma car, honestly.
Yeah.
And he revved on me, and I tried doing the same thing like what I did to Matt, and I beat that guy, and also had a cast on my wrist. So I had a couple of my buddies like, "Oh, you did it with one hand!" But man, that car was something else. I can't even tell you all the things I've done in that car. So
man, the good old days of high school and thereafter. I mean, yeah, that was a good time. I remember that too.
I guess I should tell Matt what happened to it too, because
whatever happened to that good old Grand Am, man. That fire truck red, right? Wasn't it red?
It was cherry red. It was
cherry
a
red.
bright fire cherry red car.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. I've had two.
I'm surprised you didn't have more girlfriends for driving that thing. You know what I mean? If I was a girl and I saw you driving that, I'd just run over to you every day and ask you for your phone number.
We try not to talk too much about that. There was college as well.
Carl.
But that car went through 2 car accidents.
Oh my gosh.
Had
7
flat tires.
Wow.
I had to replace the power steering 3 times.
That sucks.
I had to fix the axles on as well, because I tried also turning into a drift car, which was stupid beyond doubt.
I remember you talking about that years and years ago. I remember that.
Think about just this. I mean, if you think about it, I had it from when I was 16, and I had it till I turned 20.
Okay.
And those are your stupid years. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, like the first car accident was when I fell asleep driving back from Hood River, and that was a big mistake. Was dating someone from Hood River and being in high school and driving back after being up late at night, and that was scary. I never.
That's a long drive.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As a teenager. The second one, this is where I'm probably gonna get a lot of backlash from the guys on here on the chat.
Oh yeah, if you can read the chat right now, they're already going at you, man. I don't even know if those are our real friends if they're being that mean. Jeez.
They say if they're not talking bad about you, they're not your friends.
That's a good point. That's why Matt and I became best friends, because we just constantly make fun of each other, and there are times where we get really mad at each other, but hey, it's always your friends in the end, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, what happened? You were coming back?
Man, I can't believe I'm about to share this one.
Hey, remember, the authorities can watch this, so be careful with what you say.
It wasn't stupid like that to that point. The authorities were already involved in the first place.
Okay. Bad boy, Carl.
I was a senior. I was playing Parks and Rec basketball. I was turning into Evergreen. You know how like on Evergreen Road right there, now they have lights, but back then when there were no lights at all, like hardly any, not even near the school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm about to turn into Evergreen. I see this light way down the road, and I thought to myself, it's a one light car. It's gotta be. It's dark. It couldn't be a motorcycle. I turn. It turns out to be, it's a motorcyclist. It's turns his bike over, and he leaves a helmet-shaped dent in my bumper. And
really? Wait, so you hit him or he hit you?
Well, I was in the middle of turning, so
okay.
I stopped, and I knew he had enough space to get around me.
Gotcha.
But his reaction was to turn his bike, and you have a motorcycle, right? Like I remember you.
Not currently, but yeah, I mean I've been riding for years, and I'll get one soon. But yeah.
Yeah, his reaction was, "Oh crap, I'm about to hit this car. I can't get around it." So he decided to turn it and have his helmet hit my bumper, and his bike and him kept sliding over. The cops could not determine that he was speeding. So because the neighbors came out, picked up his bike and moved it off the road. So I was at fault for turning left.
Interesting.
I had the assumption it was a one light car and it wasn't speeding. It was like 35 miles an hour on that road. It was like way down there. And lo and
Right.
behold, it was a motorcycle. And so I would say out of all the car accidents I've ever had, and I haven't had that many, thing, knock on wood,
Hmm.
um, I've only had two. Those were the only two. The other ones were someone hitting and run on me.
Right.
One of them was on the Grand Am. The other one was actually a couple months ago with a drunk idiot who decided to do it, and I missed the guy and I lost him.
Hmm.
But man, that one was definitely the scariest one because it was a motorcyclist, and I know, when you ride a motorcycle, there's a lot at risk that you do, and
Definitely.
yeah, most of the time it's the driver who's at fault, not the motorcyclist. So
I agree most of the time, but at the same time, there's some pretty dumb motorcyclists out there that are pretty reckless. That's their
yeah,
fault.
pretty true.
Yeah.
But that's the problem though, is that I knew he was speeding because he was way down there, and all of a sudden, poof, there he is, right when I'm turning into green. So I missed my game. I had to deal with that. But yeah, there was that incident. But the problem that happened at the end of that car was that I drove that thing to the ground to the point where I was working an overnight shift as a security officer. I was doing the grim sights for the shootings, for their scenes, for their show.
Oh, cool. So, that's pretty neat.
It was cool. It was really cool. I got to see, where they were shooting the show. And sometimes I got to see the actors. But
it's awesome.
I was doing that while going to Portland State and going to college, and I was tired. And so one day I get back to my car, parked at that Sunset Transit Center, and I turn on my car, and it sounds like
it just died?
No, not even that. It sounded like a muscle car. It was like brum, 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 and I was like,
oh, exhaust leak.
And then finally, I turned it off, tried turning back on, and then just went.
Yep, dead.
So towed it, got it checked, and they're like, "It's your transmission." Yeah. And I was like, "Great." So for my good times with that red Grand Am with Matt, Oscar rode in it before too, and I know you saw it before.
Oh yeah, those were good. Those were the days. Yeah, definitely. We all go through cars, and I remember being a young guy too and getting into them, and now it's like, I don't care what it looks like as long as it's reliable and it'll start up and it'll last me a little bit, then I'll get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Carl. So Matt, I don't even know if you want to read those comments, bro. Like
I haven't even looked at them.
Matt, what is? Jeez, and Matt's gonna be on the show at some point, so you're gonna have to get him back when you go into the chat.
Perfect. Say no more.
Carl wants to cancel you. Wow, dude, cancel culture. That's what we want to do. Oh man.
But I guess also kind of thinking back as well, when you were asking me freedom of speech and what I could talk about. I guess the big thing that's really been on my mind the most right now, and I know it's still a big problem. It's a sports world thing, but I've really gotten so intrigued by CTE. That's really been just diving deeper into me. And
CTE.
Yeah, so
explain what that is in case anybody doesn't know.
Yeah, CTE is the chronic traumatic, and I can't remember what the E stands for, but pretty much what the point of the disease is that when you get a consistent amount of concussions and you don't take the time to truly treat them, you're damaging the neurons in your brain, which snap out the protons to your brain that ends up eating your brain.
Yeah, let me give you I just went on my super scientific search engine here called Google.
There you go.
And CTE stands for chronic traumatic. Now forgive me for this last one because it's a weird one, but it's chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Yep.
Or encephalopathy. Okay. Yeah, so CTE is the progressive and fatal brain disease associated with repeated traumatic brain injuries, including concussions and repeated blows to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good, the thing that comes to my mind is my mom when she was, I can't remember if it was high school or college. I think it was college. She went to University of Washington. But I think she always told me the story about she knew this, when a friend of hers that played football, and of course that was back in the 80s, and when helmets and padding things weren't so good.
Right.
But he went in for a tackle, head first, and just speared this guy, and paralyzed. Couldn't walk. How many times has that happened to people? You know what I mean? It's just too many.
Yep.
So what made you bring up this CTE? Do you know somebody, or have you been seeing it, or just been following it, or what's up?
I've just been following a bunch of it. I mean, I know it's my job in general to make sure that, not only am I coaching the kids to sport, but I'm making sure their safety is top notch. And I don't know. I always found it very interesting, much more diving into it, about how so many people, including the professional leagues, are still not taking it seriously. And it blows my mind. It's like we already have the proof from professional athletes that are doing aggressive behaviors, regular people who did it in high school or college, and you see them today and they're not completely there. And
that makes sense.
It took me a while to really watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary, but it made much more sense as well after watching that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I watched that too, and so did my brother. It's hard, man. It's hard to see that, especially if it's somebody but wow.
Yeah.
I think that is something we all need to be aware of.
It really is, and it really shocks me as well, because I'm not saying football is a bad sport. I love football. I'm a Patriots fan,
right.
do or die. I encourage my kids who play lacrosse to play football as well, or any other sport out there. And I'm shocked as well. I'm not sure if you heard before, but the amount of kids not playing sports is not just because of video games and cell phones and electronics, but another good portion of it is CTE. The parents that actually are noticing that sports can cause serious injuries that could lead to long-term effects. And I mean, I'm a example of that. I almost got paralyzed twice from football and lacrosse, but that was also on my part as well. I used to slouch a lot when I was a kid. I sometimes still do, and got to get reminders to stand up straight.
Yeah, sit up straight. Yep. Put your chest out, shoulders back.
Yep, shoulders back, chest out.
There you go.
Lean out.
Say it with the chest.
Arms out. Yeah. But I'm so shocked as well to just see so many kids not getting involved in sports either, because we're not taking things seriously with brain injuries and having the right type of equipment, or even making it affordable for kids and programs to get the equipment either. That actually was my biggest problem, was getting appropriate equipment for my kids to play lacrosse without having to pay it. And I
feel like funding is a big thing for kids these days, whether it comes to sports or academics or music, especially music, as you know too. Like it's so hard. I don't understand. I get what you're saying.
It's insane. It's insane just to be able to do any sort of extracurricular activity.
Right.
Kids see, and I think they truly do see it from our generation again, that things are expensive, and life is ran by money. I've actually lost dozens of kids who said, "Oh, I'm on free and reduced lunch. Do I have to pay to play still?" Yes, you do. We're a club sport. Yeah. Oh, well, I can't play.
And it doesn't change for them.
Yeah.
Whether it's $150 for whatever you do, or $300 or $200, whatever it is, say it's $150 to play that sport per whatever, every single student has to pay that much. Doesn't matter where they come from or what they're doing. I remember my brother talking about that too, when he was coaching Forest Grove and helping at PSU and all those kinds of things. And I think that is something that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that we need to bring awareness to. They're the ones, we're raising them now. We were the ones being raised. Now we're raising them. We want to bring them into, experience life, because I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how I would have got through high school with my parents being divorced and a lot of stressful things that happened at 16 years old, when that's your coming of age, if it wasn't for music. And that being said, it's both I mean, we did everything: marching band, symphonic band, the parades, drum line, jazz band, everything. If it had music in it, I wanted to do it. And as you know, I literally went through everything in band. I went from trumpet to, I started in cymbals in 8th grade on the drum line. Then I played trumpet. Then I was on the drum line again. Then I was a drum major, so I got to lead the band, and that was really cool to have a leadership position.
Right.
And then I missed marching so much that I literally stepped down from being drum major and said I wanted to go march on the field again. I'd rather do that. You know what I mean? But no, yeah, I get what you're saying, and that's a huge point these days. So good on you for bringing that up. Let's try to bring more awareness to that. If you share anything, I'll be sure to notate that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And actually, big shout out to your brother, because he actually even mentioned as well about how he is planning to actually help sponsor one of these kids who, even with our fees being deducted because of COVID,
right,
there are still kids, like what you said, they still can't afford it. And your brother was really nice enough that he's planning to help sponsor one of these kids who wants to keep playing the sport and stay active and stay involved. So I was really thankful your brother, and I told the parent board as well.
Yeah.
And they're even just beyond just head over heels. So I know whoever, I choose to give that to for a kid to have the opportunity to participate, I know it's going to mean the world to them. So it's hard.
Definitely.
It's really hard to see that money has become so much more of a bigger crisis that's now affecting our kids from being able to do anything. And it also goes to the fact as well of having the equipment to even keep them safe from things like CT.
Totally.
So.
No, and I'll let him know you said that too. And that's a huge point you made. And especially coming from the sports world, that's your thing. That's your life. You live and breathe that. Very good knowledge coming to us. Carl, I appreciate it. As we wrap up tonight, I think that's going to be time. I am seeing in the chat, they are begging for you to probably read the last, I don't know, let's say the last 20 comments if you got it up. They're begging you to read the chat.
I'll check it
read
out
the chat
now.
before you leave. Let me get some tunes going for you.
Oh man.
Because I know your friends miss you, and part of this too is, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I want to say a huge thank you, before we go. Again, like I said in the beginning, this is a huge, I guess, kind of dream of mine to kind of do this. I've been so into making videos and wanting to like get my word out there, but also kind of interview people and get their words out there too, which is kind of how I came up with the name for this podcast. But thank you, Carl, for being the first person with all of these technical difficulties. We've already met once before.
It's only got to happen during the pandemic. Let's be honest.
I agree. But it's been amazing. So thanks for I appreciate you. But give them a give them a read real fast for a minute or two, and then we'll take her on out.
I got one right here. Here we go. Check the chat box. Love you guys.
Matt, you got anything to say to Carl? I know Oscar's. Let's see, Oscar. They're saying that we can't read the chat. That's false. Shame on you guys.
I just choose not to.
Yeah,
there's something I learned in college just to avoid what's going to be the white noise. So, but now I'll check it out.
That's right. If you have something constructive to say to us, pertaining to what we're actually talking about here, then let us know. Sweet. No, I mean it's been good, man. It's been real. Man, let's call it a night, dude. Thanks again, Carl, for coming on the show. You brought up some really good points. I want to give a shout out to your fiance for saying yes to you, because we all thought it would never happen.
I know, right?
Here you are.
Hey, I even said it in my high school graduation speech too. It was even scripted.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? You got to send that to me. If you find that, you got to send it to me. Yes, but no, man, no. Congratulations, seriously, from my heart to yours. I appreciate it. You're a good dude. Thanks for being on the show, man. If there's anything you need, just reach out. Let's all give a thank you to Carl. Let's keep on the CTE stuff. Let's keep awareness. Let's keep things going. Spread positivity. Spread joy. Motivation. If you're working from home, try to do something at home. Get some workouts going. That's
Maybe a little
right.
stretch. That's okay to do too.
Exactly, man. Hey, hang
That's my
out.
workout today.
That's right. Hey, man, hang out for a bit after this so I can catch up with you. But again, thank you for everybody that stopped by, especially Matt and Oscar, because you guys, you keep the chat going. It's a crazy section, but you guys keep it going. All right. Well, happy March 24th. Everybody have a great evening, and I will catch you in the next episode of Freedom for Me.